Welcome to the Nickel City Funding Podcast. My name is Brian, the loan officer here at Nickel City Funding. We have a very special guest. We're going to talk insurance today with the owner of CHBB Insurance Brokers, Craig Snyder. Welcome, Craig. Welcome.
Thank you, Brian.
How are you doing today? How's it going?
Good. Everything's doing really good. Busy, which is always a good thing.
Absolutely. Busy is a good thing. So we want to talk insurance today for some of our people. So why don't you tell them, what got you started in the insurance industry? How long have you been doing it?
Yeah, like no one ever kind of wakes up and says, I want to be an insurance agent, but it actually worked out, my path worked out very well. So I went to St. Bonaventure University, and I was a finance major, and I was an investment advisor for 10 years. And one of my buddies owned a captive insurance agency that I never thought about doing investments, and it worked out great, where I was their investment guy for 5 different offices, and they helped feed me leads. And then I realized that that's what the owner should be doing. The owner of the agency should be taking care of everything for their clients instead of just passing everything out all the time, because, when you sit down and someone's buying a house, that is a big decision, an asset. So we need to protect that asset. It's an investment. We want to make sure we're doing the right things. So it just naturally worked for me that one of my agents I was working with was getting ready to retire. She didn't have an exit strategy. I was like, let me purchase it because I already knew it. So then I became the owner. And now I moved on to my own agency where I'm not captive anymore. And we'll go through that a little bit with the difference between what is an agent versus which is a broker. And that's made a big difference in my life, being able to actually work for the clients instead of working for a company.
And that sounds very similar to us too, because our owner Chris is down there beating the streets, doing loans every day for people, showing us, if he wasn't doing it, it really kind of helps. So it's, kind of similar to that. So, it leads me kind of to my next question, like you were saying, is like, what sets CHBB aside from Geico or the big...
Sure. Right, and that's one of the biggest misconceptions, not misconceptions, I guess. It's just like, how do you hear about all these names? It's all advertising. It's all, that's who's paying for that at the end of the day. The customer's actually paying for that at the end of the day when it comes to prices and everything else that you go through there. So I worked for a captive agency, which means, hey, I have one product. You might have heard of a State Farm, an Allstate, a Nationwide. These are companies that have, here are the product, I work for that company. You have a franchise of that company. You go to McDonald's, you can't ask for Burger King fries. That's just not how it works, right? So you are actually trying to sell their product to the customer. And I would get frustrated because 10 people would call into my office and maybe 2 fit into their perfect little niche that they were looking for. Well, what am I going to do with those other 8 people that need help, that are looking out, that are looking for advice, and I just want to pass them along? I want to be the one that helps them out, takes care of them. So that's kind of my transition into the brokerage world. So now I have 15 different companies. I can shop around to it. I do the work. Everybody kind of wants to shop their insurances, make sure they got the right prices, right coverages, everything else. And they don't know what to do. Do I have to call 10 different people? Do I have to do this? No, you call me. That's what I do, is do all that work for you and take that off of your plate and then come back. And it doesn't cost you anything to have me do all that work for you, because no matter where you go through, that's where they're getting paid from, is from the company that they place you. So I usually try to go as like, here's your top 3 options. This is why I would pick this one, and then kind of go through there. And it's nice to do a comparison every once in a while too, because every 5 years life goes by fast, doesn't it? Like 5 years ago where I am today versus where I was 5 years ago is a lot different. And I know it's going to be in 5 years from now. Sometimes you don't always review everything that you have, and you need to. You really do. Life changes is one of the big things. Did you have a baby? Did you buy a house? And cars are $40,000. That's an asset that we want to make sure we're protecting, for sure.
So that's a question that I kind of didn't have on our list here, but what would you tell people, how often should people be looking at their insurance?
And they do, and they're very varied, right? There's ups and downs, and there's cycles, right? And some agencies, some companies will be like, we're the cheapest right now, and then they take rates, and then, another company, they got the best rates right now, and this and that. So you do want to look into it, maybe not every single year, because it's just, you do want to have some loyalty. It does give you credits if you're with a company for over a certain amount of time, and you just kind of want to, when your prices are getting high. You really do. You kind of know they're creeping up now with inflation. It is pretty much standard. There's like 10% rate increases every single year. We just have all been through this war together, the pandemic war, and now the inflation is coming into the insurance and homeowners industries because they couldn't get parts. You couldn't get stuff. In the cars nowadays with the sensors and everything else that used to be a little bump that was like, oh, there's a bumper, $500. Nope, $5,000. We're like, oh my gosh, and then you don't have access to your car, so they have to give you a rental car and pay that, and it's all coming to a head. So these are those things from the pandemic that are rolling downhill now, affecting our industry. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. If you haven't shopped in 5 years, you need to. You definitely need to. Like that is one of the things, and just to know if you're in the right spot or not, for sure. And so that's kind of my suggestion would be 3 to 5 years, or if you see more than a 10% increase, because under 10%, that's just
standard.
Yeah, it's the replacement cost of just what things are happening.
It's kind of wild how similar a mortgage like we're both brokers, so we're a mortgage broker and an insurance broker, so it gives us such flexibility to, find people the best products that we really can. So leading in, we're working with first-time home buyers all the time. First-time home buyers are my specialty. So if you're talking to a first-time home buyer that's got his pre-approval, he's out there shopping, he's seeing houses, what can they do? What do they want to do for themselves to make sure they're in a good position to get a good insurance?
And I know you make it as least stressful as you can for your client, and that's what we try to do too. And that's what's nice, working together, because you really want to have your mortgage broker, your insurance broker, and your lawyer, and who's the other person that we always need? That it's usually your
realtor.
Yeah, your realtor, right? And sometimes they're both, not always, but like those, and you want them kind of all together talking, because I can get insurance binders over and sometimes date changes and something like this. You want them all talking together, where if it's just a 1-800 number, you're never talking to the same person again, and you're like trying to make it stressful, and people are just like, okay, I gotta get the insurance, and you just like are done with it. No, this is a very big purchase that you're doing, and I want to make sure that you're doing the right things for yourself too, and do the right coverages and everything else, and we'll make it as easy as possible for you, because you don't realize also with now you're in a different category. First time home purchaser, you're a homeowner's. Here's a homeowner's discount when you bundle stuff together. Everybody hears about bundling. It does make sense. Our goal is to try to have your home and your auto at the same place so we can give you the best discounts. Those are nice discounts. Now you have a new garaging address. Maybe you were, living at your parents' house. That's their garaging address. We have to make sure that the addresses all match. And now maybe you got a fiance, maybe you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and you guys are now together. You have an insurable interest of this house. You can combine your insurances. If you go from a single male on their own versus a homeowner, 2 car, 2 drivers, oh my gosh, the rates are so much better. So you're paying $150 by yourself, the other person's paying $150 by themselves, put them together, you're only paying $150 or $170 total. Hey, maybe that'll pay for your homeowner's insurance. All the time we do this. We really want to go through it. And some of the houses, my first house, fixer-upper, man, that's what it was. A lot of these companies don't want little fixers-uppers. Like, no, we only want the best of the best. So that roof is this. They give you all kinds of issues. We have so many different companies that just do homeowners insurance. They don't do homeowners and auto. They're called co-ops. These co-op insurance companies started 100 years ago, where like all the farmers got together, right, in the local area. So they're all kind of based out of counties. So Erie Niagara is one of the companies. Erie Niagara County. One is Genesee Patrons, Genesee County. Wayne is on the other side of Erie. Chautauqua Patrons. These are all companies that only do homeowners, and they started because all the farmers in the area had to get together, because if something happened to one of them, they were just out of luck. So they all kind of bonded together, and that's how these companies started. So that's what it is. They just do homeowners, and they'll take the one-offs maybe. Are like, all right, there's some issues with this, but I know we're gonna fix it, or hey, well maybe we'll make it as an actual cash value instead of a replacement cost value policy, just until you fix a couple things. But at least we can get you through and get you paid, because how are you gonna fix that until you lease close? That's what happens all the time. Like, let me get you through, then we'll sit down, we'll get everything all taken care of, and we'll make sure that you're covered properly. So I have options for sure, just like you do.
Yeah, and that comes I think that, talks about having a good team and all working together. It seems like, our processors are constantly talking to you guys. Seems like we have great communication back and forth. I think Tim and Colleen and Camilla are calling you guys all the time and working together. It seems like it's been great for all our clients so far.
Ease of business, right? Isn't that one of the that's what you got to communication and ease of business, and when things go smoothly, it's because there's so many fires sometimes people don't see in the background that me and you can just take care of it. Like, we don't want to stress that client out, because we know it is stressful, and it's nothing that they even need to do. We can take care of it for them.
So you said you've been doing insurance for how long?
Oh man, 22 years to do this.
22 years. So I want to have some fun here with it, and have some fun questions. So I want to know what like the craziest claim you've ever had in your industry, that like the craziest thing that happened.
Oh, I just heard this story. It wasn't for me, but it was literally a story that happened to a client of mine, a colleague of mine, actually. People don't always have renter's insurance. And I was like, you need to have renters, people don't realize why I need to have renter's insurance. Well, first of all, you want to protect your stuff, right? Like if something ever happened and you're renting and the house burns down, none of your stuff's covered at all. The landlord doesn't cover your stuff. You have to cover your own stuff. He protects the building. But you also have liability associated with that, right? People are so happy, and the liability doesn't have to happen on property where you're renting. It could be anywhere. You just have $100,000, let's say, of liability if someone ever sued me. This lady was walking around the corner at Walmart and with her shopping cart, and it's always crazy at shopping, right? Sometimes Wegmans and Walmarts. And she went around the corner and bumped into a lady that slipped and fell, and that lady, this older lady, is suing the clients because she bumped into her and she fell on the ground and like busted her ankle.
In Walmart.
At Walmart, suing the person that hit her. Not suing Walmart, suing the person for negligent for not looking out for it. She has renter's insurance. She has $100,000 of a sue policy that she has, that she got that letter in the mail from the lawyer saying she's getting sued. All she did was hand that letter to her insurance agent. That's crazy. That you never know why you need a $10 a month renter's policy. Which, if you combine with your auto, it'll save your auto $300, so it's actually cheap. So to have two policies than one.
If she did not have renter's insurance, she would have just got sued out of
Yeah, and like, okay, great. Then she's just like, it's crazy the county and the state that we live in and how litigious it is. We talk about it all the time. I have some big wigs that kind of come in that fly in from out of town sometimes from my insurance company. Like, drive down the 33, how many billboards do you see? Call this number, do this, or hurt my car, everybody knows them. Yeah, that's what we fight every day. That's why our insurances are high, because of those reasons. And you need to have those coverages, so if it ever happened, they just write them a check and you don't have to be worried about anything like that. So that's one of them. If I can get into claims a little bit, because we all just kind of went through this, is our winters have been getting a little weird around here.
Yeah,
where they're
that's
not very long.
weather situations.
They're not very long. It's more of like, here's 2 gigantic storms, and that's it. Well, that's where claims happen, is giant storms, not just a couple inches all the time. Man, we had so many calls about the 6 foot on people's roofs and gutters coming down and ice,
right?
and then it gets all heavy and it falls, and people have deductibles. So here's just a suggestion, right? You always want to make sure you get an estimate first, right? An estimate is, hey, if it's $1,500 and you have a $1,000 deductible, the first $1,000 out of your pocket, the insurance company's going to give you $500. You're going to put a claim on your insurance policy for $500. I want you to put in a $5,000 or $50,000 claim. I don't want you to put a $500 claim in because I'm looking out for your best interest. Because now you have another one next year, another one next year, and now they drop you. The insurance companies don't always want everybody, and if they're not the right client for them, they can drop them after the policy's up. Go try shopping your insurances now that you have 3 claims. It's not the amount of claims that really hurt you. It's the variable of them, or how many that you are doing. So big claims we want to put in. You want to be a little bit proactive. These are your assets. Everybody's just like, my insurance will take care of it. You're gonna end up paying for it at the end of the day. Increases and getting trapped and all this stuff. You end up paying for it. You're with the increases and everything else. So, a lot of people don't realize, like, with my house, I put up those little heated things that I plug in because I had water and an ice dam came back up and melted, and the water dripped down by my windowsill. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, all right, it wasn't enough to put a claim in because it wasn't that bad, but it scared me that it could cause something in the future. For $110, I went on my roof and put those little heated coils up. I've never had an issue ever again in my whole entire life. You want to be proactive, and so many people are not because they just they'll pay for it.
That October storm, what was that like? You were doing insurance then? Probably,
yeah, for
right?
sure, man. I live down in the South Towns too. My office is in Ankle. I'm a local guy. We specialize in the South Towns, but we everywhere and anywhere in New York State. I can write business, but we have different weather from Clarence to by the lake. 100%. Like where we see different things for sure.
What types? What we didn't talk about is, can you do all insurances? You do.
Again, so because we're made up with a mortgage broker, we talk about homeowners insurance a lot. but it literally is, here's your package. I want to be your guy. If you have any questions about anything with insurances, I want you to call me. I do a lot with business and commercial insurance too. So if you have a business on your own, workers' comp, disability, that type of stuff
boats,
too.
ATVs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely with that stuff. And it's nice because some companies have niches. So maybe we talked about bundling. Maybe your home and auto will be bundled at one place. But I know a couple other companies, they just specialize in a boat. They specialize in a motorcycle. So then I look at it as you're still bundled with me. You call me if you have an issue. You don't need to call that other company or this other company or this company. You call me and I'll be like, all right. So I look at it as almost like bundling with me than it is maybe not just with one company when it comes to those toys, I call them, right? Campers, ATVs, all kinds of things. People have questions with electric bikes, a couple $1,000. You want to make sure they're protected. It's an asset of yours. Is that covered under personal property? Up to a certain point, or you schedule it. And that's a lot of things too that people don't realize is they think, oh, all of my property is covered. It's not. There's up to certain limits, or you can schedule stuff. A lot of people will schedule a wedding ring, where God forbid, if something ever happened, theft or lost or things can happen, where you lose your wedding ring, you want to make sure if it's scheduled, which means getting an appraisal and having it listed as an article on your insurance policy, that's covered for exactly that. My wife lost her wedding ring, they're going to insured for the exact same ring, diamond, carat, cut, everything that she needs to. So those are other things where if you don't, it's only $1,500 and most policies are just going to cover for jewelry. That's not enough for my wife's wedding ring. I'm sorry, she's pretty fancy. In a good way.
So how would people get a hold of you? They need to get a hold of you guys for...
With technology nowadays, we do a ton with ease of business. Facebook is always easy. Texting is always really easy. You can text us at any time. Be like, send me a picture of your driver's license and your address, and let me just work up some stuff for you and let you know if I need anything else. It's not going to be instantaneously because I don't want to be that instantaneous. Oh, here you go, and send it off to you. No, I want to do my research. I want to shop around. Sometimes I have to get approval for things and can get things through my underwriters and stuff too. So call us. Just give us your information. You maybe send us a deck page or something, but cell phone, always the easiest way through the office. It's 716-243-0212. So CHBB Insurance. It's 4 letters, CHBB Insurance Brokerage.
Well, thanks for coming in today. I appreciate your time, and hopefully everyone learned a little bit today about insurance.
Go Bills!
Go Bills!